Holmes Wormhat. It's worth talking about the pangolin at least one more time because its connection to this corona hoax. And they're saying now that it's likely. Like, how would anybody be able to figure this out, anyways? It's so absurd to think that some sort of viral pandemic, they would be able to find the source to be something so specific. And yeah, this is one story that they're running with these days, that it all came from a pangolin, which is not even a real animal. And they love to mix their fairy tales. And it reminds me of the semi-recent London Bridge psyop stabbing where somebody ran out into the mix with a narwhal tusk, and narwhals are not real animals. And it's like a calling card. Hey, this is all a bunch of BS, and just a way to get all their things mixed together. It's a big web of lies, and people just live in a fantasy land and believe all sorts of nonsense because they're really gullible. They'll believe anything that is presented to them. It doesn't help that these entities have a lot of, authority. It takes people a lot to get past, oh, the government lies to us. But very rarely do people run with that all the way. Why would the government lie about everything? Why would all of the celebrities be a big lie when you find out about skulls and bones? Why would everything that they teach you in school be a lie, but then Nat Geo is perfectly fine and everything out of Nat Geo is legit? No, this deception is everything. So it's like, of course they lie about animals. They lie about everything. What don't they lie about? And especially anything on the TV is of course going to be fake. People know that everything on the TV is fake, but then they don't understand that a lot of animal stuff is fake. Nobody will see a pangolin in real life. They'll just see it on the screen. And it's because it's not a real animal. I've talked about this a bunch. They love talking about, oh, the secret creatures, pangolin. They're What's the secret? The fact that these things don't even exist. That's the secret. Sometimes they're shiny. So what I think it is, it's just Photoshop with pine cones and maybe just some arts and crafts. Sometimes if they need a real life pangolin in real life, they might take some sort of creature and build a build a pine cone suit to put on it and try to pass it off as an animal. Use puppets, they use CGI. It's rarely just one thing. Koalas these days oftentimes CGI, but koalas have been around for a long time. They didn't have CGI. They just made puppets. It's just like a taxidermy joke. And but sometimes they do dress up with animals. They'll dress up animals as another animal. It's just a pine cone. I mean, if you were just zoomed in on this, you would just assume it's a pine cone. These ones are really bad. I think in this one you can see the marks that this was made out of clay, like it's a model. You can see the chisel marks, like somebody constructed this with tools. It's a this is just a It's an art project. This one's like clearly not alive, and it's covering its hand. It's doing the hidden hand. They look so different a lot of times. This one's just pure CGI. Here, this is the honeycomb design. They're a hive. So they want you to believe they want you to believe that this thing is the most trafficked mammal, even though nobody's ever seen one in real life. If this was the most trafficked animal, people would have them as pets all over. They would be, think of ferrets. It's even so. I grew up in California where ferrets were not legal, but they were trafficked in. People would traffic, and I knew people who had pet ferrets, and I've seen them, and I've interacted with them. If the pangolin is the most trafficked animal, why doesn't anybody have one? Nobody has one of these things. Look at the orange shirt in the background and doing a Baphomet two fingers. It's a CGI creation. And pangolins, I think, are. I don't know how modern this is. I knew about pangolins, but just because I was really into. It makes me feel so embarrassed today. But yeah, I used to be into that Nat Geo stuff. I just cringe now knowing how much of it is BS. But I had heard of it. I just didn't. I never questioned it. Yeah, it's just CGI. This is just CGI. That's not a photo. That's just CGI. Scaled mammal. Okay, look at the orange in the background. Bright orange. See, pangolin viruses in the human pandemic. So this is talking about pangolins in context of the corona hoax, and they got bright orange. Okay, this one, if you can't see that this isn't a real thing, I I don't know what to say. That's not a living creature. It looks like it's made out of clay. Hidden hand. They like to do ones with tongue sticking out. So the pangolin is just so inconsistent. Is it shiny? Is it clay, like a matte clay, or is it shiny? This one's sticking out the tongue. They enjoy sticking out tongue. It's like a mocking collie thing. This one has a pretty cool filter on it. It's Photoshop. This is what people who are really good at Photoshop, this is what they spend their time doing. And this is what people at Nat Geo do. They don't they just sit behind a desk and make up fake stuff. They're not all being shipped out to Africa and with all that equipment. And just think about what's easier, doing all that nonsense or just using a bunch of Photoshop everywhere. Once you wake up to how often they use Photoshop, you see it everywhere. Everywhere. Just because it's so easy. It's fast and easy, and that's cheap. They can make. That's why there's so many images of pangolins. But when you really look, you'll see that's not a photograph. That is CGI. And when they make it up, when it's all just CGI or puppets, they can always get the perfect pose. They can do a one eye if they want to. WWF, I think it was kind of a joke, an in joke. Remember the whole thing where the World Wrestling Federation and then the WWF, they kind of fought over the name, and the panda, which are fake, they ended up winning the name WWF. Well, everyone knows that the WWF wrestling, it's fake. Well, this WWF is just as fake. They get people to donate money for fake animals that don't exist. Like, look at that. I don't know how anyone could think that that's a real thing, a living creature. You can see the chisel marks. Was it shiny? Are they shiny or are they matte? Guess it just depends whoever's photoshopping that day or what they're doing. If they're this one almost looks like just a little puppet. They're so stiff. Could be like a little taxidermied rat or something that they just put scales on top of. It's a hoax though. That looks like snake scales on the top one. And then just looks like pine cone texture. Some of them are a little furry. It's just ridiculous. It's not real. It's more often than not today, it's just Photoshop. Look at this one. That is totally different. Give us your money. They have an orange part of their logo for sure. This one looks heavy. I have a video on the toucan. Rainforest rescue. Take pangolins off the menu now. Has anyone ever been to a restaurant that had pangolin on the menu? No. They just want you to think that this stuff happens, but just in these back markets and in these ooga booga villages that nobody ever goes to. But the reality is that none of this stuff actually happens. Think of when you see actual footage of Africa and they're wearing like American sports shirts and They have TV, and yeah, I don't see them eating pangolin on a menu. I've never heard of anybody, oh, I traveled to Africa and I ate pangolin. It's not real. It's supposed to be the most smuggled, and yet nobody has it as a pet. This reminded me of this. Oh, we got a space alien. Somebody told me to do a video on this. I think it's really obvious. Do you guys remember? This is a really recent hoax. I don't remember exactly when, but it was like a viral video. Oh, check out this bird, and it's CGI. It's straight up CGI. The first time I even saw it, I was like, that looks like CGI. They will put stuff out there that is obviously CGI and try to pass it off as real. And I mean, that's what Shark Week is. Shark Week, it's CGI week. I just have a few more images. This one almost looks like it's a little puppet set that they have. But look how stiff, how rigid. You can tell if something's dead as a door now or a real creature. And this is dead. That's not living. And it's like they just posed it in a different, they just gave it a different pose. Here we go. That one's really pine coney. Again, this one, that's just Photoshop. Looks so flat and distorted and not real life. More orange. This one looks wet. This one is super wet and shiny. It just depends which Photoshop artist did you get to make this image? It's going to be different. That's not how real animals work. You don't find a photo of a dog and it's all of a sudden like super shiny out of nowhere. These ones look totally different. They just make it up as they go because it's not a real animal. Here we go. And then it gets very fantastical. Someone spent a lot of time on that one. Meet the most poached animal in the world. If it's the most poached animal in the world, why does practically nobody know about it? It's because the only people who would know about pangolins are people who watched a lot of nature shows or really researched different types of animals. Those would be the only people because it doesn't exist in real life, just in textbooks and on the TV. That's why nobody knows about it. Look at these really well polished. These were recently produced all for this corona hoax thing. Just ridiculous. Pangolin is 33 in Chaldean. God bless everyone.